Hello, everybody. Welcome to Match Chats. Today's guest is Lance's creepy reading. Lance, how are you today, my man?
I am doing just fine. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being a guest. As I say to everybody, thank you for being a guest. I'm really appreciative of it.
Hey, thanks. I mean, I don't get interviews that often, but when I do, I actually really enjoy it. So it's great that you brought me on board with this. Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome, and thank you for being willing to come on board. All right, we're going in
Hey, I'm
circles
always willing to
already.
do. I'm always willing to do anything, man. I'm always willing to do any kind of content, even if it's like a little interview and the podcast style. I've done podcasts before and in some interviews, but you know what? There's just something about doing a live stream or doing like these kind of type of podcast interviews that are just really special. Because you're being yourself essentially. It's like man to man. You're talking not off a script, but just as yourself. I think that's very special because people can actually see what the real you is like.
And I agree because anybody can do an interview, question answer interview with any kind of character they want to choose to portray. But when you have to sit there and talk for a length of time, that mask is going to fall off. And then you're going to see the true person underneath.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious when you see my videos. So at least whenever I appear on camera, I'm obviously just playing a character because I'm talking in a very serious kind of voice.
Right.
While also doing this weird ass dub thing I always do with myself when I just randomly like move my arms around in front of the camera because my mic is not good on said camera. It's a weird setup. We'll get into that later, but uh, my setup's pretty weird to be honest with you.
I feel that, man. So,
Oh, the struggles of being a YouTuber.
I got to ask you something.
Shoot,
You said you had a question for me. What is it?
did I have a question? I think I did actually.
You did. You're like, so I got to ask you something. I'm like, what's up? And you're like, oh, I'll ask you when
I
when
forgot
it
what it was.
starts.
No.
You forgot? How could you forget? No, you're good, man.
I just split secondly forgot. Is that a word? Yes. Yeah. No, now it is. But I just. It happens sometimes. I'll think to ask something, but then I'll just like forget it like mere seconds later. I'm like, wait, what was I about to do again?
It's all good, my
Ah,
man. Well, here, let's get started with this.
ADD.
We'll get into these conversations, and if you think of it, just be like, oh, hey, I know what that question was.
I'll let you know when it comes up.
Sounds good to me, man. So, now your videos, kind of go to
Wait,
the.
I just remembered it. I'm sorry
Okay.
to cut you off like that, but I just remembered it.
You're fine, my man. Ask away.
This is going off to a great start so far.
Oh, I'm loving this. I'm honestly loving this.
Mm. Oh yeah. Okay. What I was gonna ask you originally was, how did you hear about me, or know about my channel?
So, believe it or not, you just kind of came up on my follow list, and I hit follow. And I was like, well, if he follows me back, I'm gonna ask him if he wants to be a guest. That was it. That was it. So I was like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I had no idea who you were coming into this. I watched like one of your videos because I wanted to get to know my guests and what they do. Um, and I know that sounds terrible, but my podcast just revolves around talking to people. So I could literally talk to anyone about anything at any point without even needing to know them. And this was kind of like not only a test for myself, but a test to see the real strength of what I do. And
Oh yeah, and hey, I'm totally okay with that, man. No big deal.
um, but I did watch one of your videos, and I looked through your channel, and I really like it, and I'm really glad that you were able to make it today.
Absolutely. Just out of curiosity, what video of mine did you look at, if you remember the name of
I
it?
don't remember the name of it, but I will look it up right now in my history, if you don't mind.
Let's see. Awesome.
Oh yeah, man.
Take as much time as you need.
I'm sorry, but please don't be mad at me. I just like this is usually how we do it. I just like this is how I meet people because
I'm
you
not
know
mad. Don't worry, man. No big deal.
there's so many YouTubers who do narrations and whatnot that it's really hard to keep up with. People fall through the cracks.
Yeah, yeah. YouTube narrations have honestly become very, what's the right word to put it? Oversaturated.
There's a
But
lot
then
of them.
again, yeah, but then again, practically anything on YouTube is oversaturated once it develops a following.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
narrations have been around for like the longest time now. They just got popular on YouTube, at least scary story wise, with creators like Mr. Creepypasta and Mr. Nightmare and the like. And after that, everyone else just jumped on the bandwagon
Mm-hmm.
and started doing their own narration channel. But that's not why I did it. But I'll get into that later on.
Okay. I watched the your latest one from a month ago. It's the Boogeyman Creepypasta by Unknown.
Yeah. That was a remake of a story that I did like when I first started. So
Really?
yeah, it turned out a lot better. When I first got into YouTube narrating, that was one of the first stories I did. Well, the second story I did, to be honest, and that one really has not aged well. It's really bad. This is back when I was first getting into the whole narration and voice acting thing, and I had no idea how it worked. I was familiar with acting and voice acting. I knew exactly what went into it, but when it came to recording stuff and editing it for YouTube, I did not know anything at all because at that time I had very little experience when it came to actually editing videos. Like I believe the first video I ever made was it took me like say 5 hours just to do, and it was a 3 minute long video. And I didn't even
Wow.
add music in the background. I just added like a ticking clock sound in the background, and that, looking back, was just so petty of me. And the volume wasn't even that high, so people could barely hear me. It's just a prime example of how when you first start out, your channel is not as, or at least your videos, excuse me, are not as good as you think they are initially. Because
Mm-hmm.
of course, when you first start out, when you first make a video, you'll think to yourself, "Oh, it's not so bad. Oh, it's pretty good." But then years on down the road, as you progressively start making more and more content, you actively see your older videos as being very subpar or just being very bad, which is the case with the first videos that I had uploaded on my channel. Case in point, hence why I wanted to remake that second story I did, because I liked the story. I thought it was pretty good and the twist was really nice. So I thought, hey, why not just remake it with all the tips and tricks that I've developed over the years and see how much I've improved? And I did just that. And I think it turned out really well.
So I actually just remembered a long time ago. I think it was like last year. I really fell in love. Well, okay. When I first started listening to creepypastas, it was the classic OGs: Slenderman, Laughing Jack. What's the other big one back then?
Jeff the
Jeff the
Killer.
Killer. Yeah, Jeff the Killer. And there was a time where I was listening to so many different narrations and different people and people's different takes on the Laughing Jack story. And I'm looking through your channel, and I'm pretty sure why, like maybe last year, I watched your video, your Laughing Jack, excuse me, narration.
I've done both of them actually. I did the original one and I did the origin story. So you could have watched either one of them.
I think
Although I'm guessing
it
you
was the one
probably
by
watched the
Snuff Bomb.
they're both by Snuff Bomb.
Are they? Okay, that doesn't help.
Yeah.
I think it's the classic one where like the little boy dies.
Oh, okay, then you're thinking of the original one. I
Yeah,
don't think very highly of that one nowadays, to be honest. I could have done so much better on that one.
really.
Yeah, I think the narration wasn't as good as I wanted it to be.
Mhm.
I don't know. I just don't think very highly of it anymore. It's I can say that a lot about all my other videos on that channel. There are a very select few that I think actually turned out really well,
Okay.
minus some minor flaws here and there. But it's funny. Speaking of that story, when I did it, I actually wanted to get Snuff Bomb's permission, and I actually thought it'd be cool if he appeared in the video itself. But well, that didn't end up working out. He didn't end up appearing in it, but he gave me his blessings to do both stories, which I did, and he seemed to enjoy them.
That's good.
Snuff is actually a really good guy. Just thought I'd throw that out there. He's a real nice guy.
You know, I might reach out to him for as a get to be a guest on my show.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Tell him that Lance said, hey.
Oh, I will. I'll be like, hey. So I just first thing I wanted to say is Lance's creepy reading said hey, and second, I was wondering if you wanted to be a guest on my show. Because I'll have any kind of guest on the show. I don't like a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
my guests seem to be horror narrators. That seems to be a very common theme, but I'll have anybody. It doesn't matter what
Yeah,
you do.
I've seen some of the horror that have appeared on your channel. Some of them I do know, some of them I have not heard of before. There was just one female narrator I can't remember her name at the moment, but I saw the interview you did with her. I checked out her channel. I'm like, she has a pretty good voice. I'll subscribe to her. If I can remember who it was, then I'll tell you. In fact, I think while we're talking right now, I'll scroll through my history
Was a beautiful
and
nightmare.
I'll Beautiful Nightmare.
Yeah.
You know what? That's hard to say. Let me just
Was a
scroll
curious
into.
raven.
Oh wait. Oh wait. I think it was both of them actually. Curious Raven or Beautiful Nightmare. Either one of those. Curious Raven or Beautiful Nightmare. I checked out their channels, and I gotta say, I like their stuff. They have pretty good voices. It's always nice though when you get to interview certain people from a certain community, even if they're like small narration channels. You hear what they can do with their voice or what they sound like or whatever, and if you enjoy them, you'll get a kick out of it. And people a part of that community, that very same community, will give them any kind of love and support that they need. It was like that with me when I first started out. How I was very small,
Mm-hmm.
starting out. Everyone is essentially. But when more people of that same community that you are a part of, whether it be gaming, reacting, or even this narrating, start noticing your content and they start liking it, it gives you a lot of opportunities to meet a lot of people in this community, as well as having them give you a lot of support, which is also in turn motivation to help you keep going.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think without people being, willing and wanting to come on my show, I don't think I'd still be doing it. Honestly, it's not even a joke. That's for real, man. Like, if there weren't so many horror narrators that wanted to be on my show, I wouldn't still be doing it because, for some reason, I don't know why, but people in other genres of YouTube just do not seem interested in doing something like this. But it's I understand it. This kind of podcasting, being a guest on something like this, is not what most people like to do, and yeah. But I gotta ask
So
you,
you there.
man.
Some people are kind of like that. Maybe they just don't feel comfortable with the idea of giving out too much information about themselves. Maybe they're not comfortable with the idea of being interviewed so early on, or maybe they just get really cold feet when it comes to this kind of thing.
It,
Get
it
nervous
could
as
also
this
be
goes on
anxiety.
constantly.
Anxiety seems
Yeah,
to be a
yeah.
very common one between people. And this, for some people, the thought of doing something like this can be very anxiety inducing. Um, I remember when I was interviewed by Jeff Mara on the Jeff Mara podcast back in February. I can tell you, leading up to it, my anxiety was spiking bad. I almost canceled because I was just so nervous. And then when I got in there, I was like, oh wow, I'm actually really enjoying this. And because of that, actually, is why I got started in this.
It's funny you say that actually, because that made me think of when I first did a live stream on this channel. It was a live reading that I was doing for a Halloween special or whatever. And when I was doing it, I remember there were times where I felt kind of nervous doing it because when it comes to narrating, and I think a lot of people who are part of this community can relate to me on this, is that when you're narrating, you sometimes tend to flub a lot or screw up a lot of the things you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, when I'm reading off a story or a script, I don't tend to do that often because I cut out the mistakes. But if you knew me in real life, I tend to stumble with my words a lot. I'm not really doing it right now so much. I don't know, maybe just because I'm really focused on the interview at hand right now. But typically, in general, whenever I talk with people, I stumble my words. I'll slur them a little bit because I'll speak too fast at times. Like, I don't know. It's just a little thing that I do. But then again, I have ADD, so maybe it's just that. But I could be wrong.
Could be. No, no, no. It could be ADD. I have ADHD. And I can tell you that sometimes makes me just talk so fast that my own mind just can't even keep up, and it just it just stumbles you. It kind of snowballs too.
It can't stop you from having fun with it though, because
No.
I actually would sometimes with my classmates in school back when I was in school. Uh, with that, because whenever I talk and read things in class, I'll just read them like really fast. So just to mess with my classmates, I would oftentimes, whenever I was asked to read a part of a story that we were reading, I would just smile and start reading the paragraph like really, really fast, or at least as fast as I could. I'd stumble here and there, but I would just keep reading it really fast, and people would just get so thrown off by how fast I was reading it. It's like, dude, slow down. I can't keep up with you, man. I'm like, yeah, that's the point. I'm supposed to do that. I'm messing with you guys because of that. I don't know. It was always great. Even the teachers would oftentimes be impressed. At the same time, they'd think it would be pretty funny too. It's like, oh my god, you're reading so fast. We can't keep up with you, man. What's going on? Are you a rapper? Well, no.
Oh man, that's how it
Well,
was for me in high school. Like the teachers would deliberately try not to call on me because I would just read so fast. Like it was just there was no breaks. I didn't need to take a breath. You just got me the book. You told me where to start, and I just went and went and went until they told me to stop. It just, I don't know
Oh
why.
man. It's funny. I actually, whenever I was called on in school, it wasn't really that often, as far as I know, looking back. But there were these moments. I don't know if you ever had these kind of experiences, but when it came to certain subjects in school, whenever the teacher would ask the class a certain question about what the lesson was about, in your mind, you're thinking to yourself, "Oh, please don't call on me. Please don't call on me. Don't say my name." And I would say this in my head several times, but every single time I did that, my name would get called. I don't know
Really?
why, but like clockwork, every time that happened, it'd be like, "Lance, can you please tell us this about blah 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 blah?" And I'd be like, "Shit,
No. What are you doing?
you had one job, and you just wasted it, man. You just wasted it like that."
You go pick on one. Go ask one of the smart kids. Let them do it. Like, just leave me alone.
Ask the smart-looking guy sitting next to me. I'm sure he'll get it.
It's so true, though. It's
Or
so
just ask one
true.
of the dumb kids in class who spends all their time just talking to basically everyone around them and just acts annoying.
Yeah, make him read. Make him read and just be like, "Oh, where are we?" I love
It's funny.
those
Whenever
moments.
I would see someone doing that kind of thing, it's like, bro, just move this guy's seat so he doesn't distract other people. I mean, obviously he doesn't care about any of this stuff. He's just gonna harass the girls in the class as well as just act like an obnoxious jackass. And if he's gonna be that way, just move him somewhere else. It works.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I understand including everybody, but if there's one person that's really distracting everybody else, move them to the back of the class. Make them just focus from there. Then they can't really bother anybody. And if they try to, you're gonna see it. You're gonna see them physically having to lean over the desk and be like, "Hey, hey, what are you doing?" You know, and oh, it's just great. It's just great. Now, what got like I've noticed? Why did you choose your character? I'm just gonna ask straight out. Why did you choose like an alien-headed uh, character?
Uh, this is where it gets interesting. Okay, so here's the thing. Back when I first started, I was very hit or miss on what I would do with my persona because I had been doing YouTube at this point for like maybe I think 6 months at that point in time, and I thought, would it be really cool if I actually like made a character for myself? Would I show my face? Would I not show my face?
Mm-hmm.
It's ironic though because I had a Skype back in the day with my channel name on it, and on there I actually did show my face because initially I didn't think there'd be really much of a point to hiding it.
Mm-hmm.
But as time went on, I thought, hey, maybe the idea of having a character or an avatar where I could hide my face would add to the mystique of the channel, like mystery. It's like someone's telling you a story, but you don't know what they look like, of course, because it's just a voice and a microphone, right?
Yeah.
So I thought, if I take a picture of myself or if I appear on camera, I'm actually like in a costume, hiding what I really look like as part of the gag or the thrill or whatever of not knowing what this person looks like. And I know Mr. Creepypasta for the longest time did this kind of thing, and Creepypasta too also did this. I didn't want to feel like I was copying off of them, so I figured that if I was going to do something like this, I would have to do something original at the very least. Now, I didn't know anyone who could actually make me a physical mask, so I did the next best thing. I went to Party City. It was during the Halloween season, so when I went there, I just started looking at random masks, thinking, "Huh, what could I use that could be a perfect mask to use for narrating, a perfect mask that not only like describes me as a person, at
Mm-hmm.
least somewhat, at least what I used to be,
Right.
and something that could really work for the channel." And I found this mask called the Slenderman mask. Yes, that's a Slenderman mask apparently. The name has been changed from time to time, like um, over the years. And it was a mask by a production company called Ghoulish Productions. Uh, I'm like, hey, this is pretty cool. I think I can make something work out of this. And so I bought the mask. I started wearing it, um, which is ironic because nowadays my friends, at least people who know about me on YouTube, every time they go to Party City, they'll find that exact same mask there. They'll wear it and they'll post a video or a picture to their Twitter, and they'll be like, "Hey, I'm Lance's creepy reading." I'm like, my message has definitely spread. My influence has definitely spread, and I'm proud of that. But that's not where I'm going with this. I just thought I'd throw that in there because it was kind of funny. Initially, I of course did not have a T-shirt at all, and I also didn't have that black trench coat that you see me wearing.
Yeah.
Originally, I did something that, excuse me, I think is honestly kind of cliche.
Uh-oh.
And looking back, I really wish I didn't do this because a lot of people tend to do this when they have their own characters. That they'll wear like a hoodie over whatever it is they're wearing, and I did that. And looking back, I kind of wish I didn't. I think the hoodie look is just kind of overdone, to be honest with you.
I agree.
I mean, it's not like I'm just gonna step on a camera with like a full-fledged like robe or maybe like an Emperor Palpatine kind of robe or whatever. Although that would be pretty badass. Just
It would
saying.
be. It would be.
But I ultimately decided to just scrap the hoodie idea altogether. And at some point in time, sorry, after several years of me doing this and of me appearing in several intros of me wearing the hoodie look, I decided to change my wardrobe design. I'm like, let's make this something that I can actually uh, call my own, something that I think is I can be somewhat original. So I thought, huh, how am I gonna do this? And lo and behold, at another Halloween store, that's gonna be an ongoing theme. I I was looking around the place trying to find a additional wardrobe piece that I could add to my new look. And
Mm-hmm.
I found this black trench coat there. I don't know what the costume set was supposed to be. It was just a plain black trench coat. And I'm like, huh, let me see how this looks. So I slipped it on and it felt pretty comfortable. And I saw my exact same mask also hanging on the shelf as well. So I'm like, oh, this is too good. So I put the mask on as well as the trench coat. I wasn't wearing my T-shirt, obviously. It was a plain white T-shirt, I believe, when I
Mm-hmm.
when I put this thing on. Maybe it was like a black T-shirt. I don't know. I don't know. Either ways, I put the thing on, right? I take a selfie of it, and I say, "I have the new look, guys. What do you think?" And a lot of people actually really liked it. So I'm like, "Hey, this can actually work." So I decided to adopt that style as well. And later on down the road, I thought maybe it's time I have some merch too. Yeah, I could probably do that. So I took some artwork with the permission of the person who made it. By the way, his name is We Shouldn't Be Here. Just so you know, he made that artwork of me like a long time ago.
Yep.
And when he gave it to me, I decided to use that as the basis of my T-shirt. So I went on Teespring, made a design of that, which my T-shirt you can actually check out my channel and get it. My shameless plug.
You can do as many shameless plugs as you want, my man.
Well, in that case, my Twitch name and my Patreon name are linked down below in the description. And no, just kidding.
What? What? Okay, hold on. We need to talk about.
I'm just kidding. If you want to know all about this stuff, just go to my YouTube channel. You'll see it all there. It's linked there. No worries. But I do have T-shirts on Teespring if you're interested. Just saying. Okay, okay. I got the T-shirt design. I wore the trench coat over it. I put the mask on, and that was that. Oh, and I almost forgot the sword thing that I had for a while. It's funny how that first came about. A YouTube artist and Twitch streamer by the name of Chaotic Gaming once reached out to me, and she asked me if I was in a zombie apocalypse, what weapon would I take into battle with me?
Okay.
And me being a fan of swords and katanas, I'm like, probably a katana. Yeah. And
Okay.
she's like, that's great. I'll make some artwork of you, and I'll add in that sword. I'm like, oh, hey, that's cool. I really appreciate that. She's a real sweetheart. I really appreciate what she did because she actually gave me something that was a main staple of my character. So I appreciate her for doing that. Her name is Chaotic Gaming, by the way. Just thought I'd throw that out there. And well, basically gave a broad design of what I think the sword excuse me, what the sword should look like. A mixture of black and green, which is funny because when it first came out, the picture of the sword, people thought I was trying to be like Genji from Overwatch,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was kind of funny. But that really wasn't the case at all, and I barely knew who Genji was at the time. But again, not the point. So I got the picture of me holding the sword made, and I tried to find something like it for like the longest time of what I could use as a prop for that sword. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't until I went to a convention at some point in time in where I live, and I found a sword that looks almost just like my character sword. So I'm like, oh, this is too perfect. I gotta buy it. and it was like one of those like foam sword, not really foam sword, but like one of those cheap replicas or whatever. Apparently, it was from an anime that I had never heard of, and I still don't remember the name of said anime. But I'm like, the sword looks cool. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna use it, and I did just that. I got the sword, and that was how I came up with my ultimate character design until the sword broke.
Oh.
Yeah, it broke and I stopped using it. But actually, at some point in time, recently actually, I went to Florida and I bought a new samurai sword there too. And I figured, why not use that in my new videos from now on? It's not the same as my old one, but it would make for a nice replacement for the time being, and at least until I can maybe get a new one, or if I'm lucky, get one custom made of the actual sword in my profile picture, because I think that'd be really nice to have. But the moral of this long-winded story that I'm telling you is that that is how I came up with my character design. So there you go.
Okay. All right. So that's quite the story, though. Did
Yeah,
not
and people
expect
have
that.
asked me several times if I'm gonna do a face reveal at some point in time. I'm not too sure, to be honest. Uh, to be honest with you, I might do it soon, but at the same time, I kind of want to keep the suspense waiting, even though my channel is like practically fucking dead now at this point in time.
Oh, it's
It's not
not
as big as
dead.
it's not as big as it used to be, but at the same time, I kind of don't really want to just show my face now, given the state that it's in. I'd rather just wait and see if I can build something up again before I ultimately decide to show what I look like to people.
What would ultimately be the final push you would need to make that happen? To finally be like, all right, that's it. You all want it? Here, you got it.
Uh, it's not really much of a push, to be honest. It's more or less me accepting when I feel like I'm ready to actually do it. Which is funny because back when I first started out doing this, I thought, hey, I don't think I can keep doing YouTube forever, because at one point I might have a last episode or last video on YouTube I would ever do, and maybe when that happens, I could reveal my face as a final send-off. But as time went on, I soured towards the idea of doing that. So I thought, you know what? At some point in time, when I want to show my face, I will do it when I'm ready. Because in the end, that's the only thing you can do. You shouldn't be pressured into showing your face just because a
Hmm.
bunch of people or fans have asked you if they can see
Right.
you.
Now,
So
do
I
you
figure
want to
when it
do a
comes to me
face
showing my face,
reveal? Do you want to
oh, I'm
reveal
sorry.
your face?
Do I want to reveal my face? Yes and no, to be honest. Some people in the horror community actually do know what I look like because I developed a friendship with them and a trust with them that I could show them what I actually look like, and they've been respectful of that ever since. They
That's
know
great.
what I look like. I know what they look like, and it's been good. But when it comes to me actually wanting to show my face, not right now, to be honest, because like I said, I would only do it when I'm ready. I somewhat want to do it, but at the same time, I don't want to do it because I want to not just waste it right at this very moment, like in like a split second decision. It's like, okay, I'm gonna show my face. Shows my face. Oh wait, I should have waited a bit longer for that to happen. So, like I said before, I think it's just best that I wait until I
Hmm.
feel like I'm officially ready to actually want to show my face like completely.
Right. Yeah, I can understand that, and I can respect that opinion. Um, See, I came into this with a different mindset, and that was that, my first videos, if you watch my first videos with Mortis Media and Let's Read and Jay, which you did, you'll see that there's a picture of
Really
me.
great people.
They are. You'll see that there's a picture of me, and my full name comes up. You know, it comes up. I could not edit it
Is that
out,
right? Oh, no.
and it's in the bottom left corner. And I won't be surprised if people start adding me on social media, especially on Facebook, because I use the same name. But I really have nothing. I came in feeling like I have really nothing to hide. People are gonna get mad at me and whatnot. That's part of life. But I don't really have anything to hide. I already know I'm kind of an ugly person, and that's okay. I'm good at what I do.
I'm ugly and I'm proud.
Yes, I'm ugly and I'm proud.
Yeah, another reason is I choose to keep. I also choose to keep my face hidden because I don't want any personal information of me getting out anywhere. Not that I
It's
have something to
understandable.
hide from people. It's just that I'm just not really comfortable with people knowing stuff about me that's too personal.
That's a fair point.
Because I've had instances before in the past before I did YouTube where my social media was hacked by people
Oh,
and they
really?
got some information on me. So I'm not really
Ooh.
comfortable with doing that to be. But that's just another reason as to why I decide to hide what I look like. So it's funny because some of my friends who know me through YouTube actually randomly somehow found my Facebook page and they're like, "Is this supposed to be you?" I'm like,
Um.
no."
Wow. They actually found your Facebook page.
Yeah, yeah, they did actually. They put two and two together and realized that Lance is Lance.
Oh no.
Like, no, wait, no, that's a different Lance. That's Lance 2.
There's Lance too. I have a twin. I have a twin. His name is Lance as well. He looks
I
just
mean,
like
Lance
me.
isn't really that much of a common name if you think about it.
It's
So
really
really, I mean, how many Lances would you know in your life?
no. That's a good point.
Man, I would think. You know,
Um.
that's pretty unique about me. My name is very uncommon to most people, so they wouldn't really know a whole lot.
Yeah. I understand that fear. You know, if I think if I was doing this at any other point in my life, right, I'd probably want. If I was younger, I'd probably want to hide myself more. But the problem is I have a very unique last name. So no matter where I
Yeah,
go, no matter what I do, the name is going to be recognized in some way, shape, or form. And
fair enough.
so I don't know. I'm just not as worried about it as maybe some people are. And I think it'd be cool to have people, the occasional fan come up to me and be like, "Hey, I watch your videos and your interviews and your podcast episodes, and I really like them." That's great. Thank you. Um,
I'll admit, I'm like to my will. I have a YouTube channel,
I'm
and
sorry.
at the
You're going in and
my
out.
lord, huh?
You're going in and out.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah.
Still doing that?
I think
Oh
you're good
no, I
now.
know. Well, then again, some planes were flying by earlier. Planes are always flying by where I live, so if you heard them in the background, I apologize. They might interfere with my connection.
Okay.
Um, at that same convention I went to, actually, I was asking a question to some voice actors who do anime. I can't remember what their names were, but I was asking for advice on voice acting and whatnot, and I mentioned that I had a YouTube channel. I didn't say the name of it, but I actually was appearing at this convention in my Lance Reading costume, thinking maybe someone might recognize me.
Yeah.
It's a stretch, but maybe. Uh, uh, well, either way, after I asked that question later on, after the panel ended, some girls walked up to me and they asked me what my channel name was. So, me being nice, I decided to give it to them. Like, it's no big deal. They're not going to remember what I look like. And well, I haven't heard from them since, so I guess it kind of worked. So, so yeah, some people I have given my channel out to some friends and some people that I've met, but not a lot of them actually stick around to check it out or maybe watch my content.
Okay.
I know some members of my family possibly do, but some friends of mine do as well. But a lot of the people who do see my stuff are anonymous to me.
So, was there ever a time where you I gotta ask. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna ask this. What? Oh boy. Have you okay? Have you been to a lot of conventions trying to get your channel out there?
Actually, no, not at all.
Really?
This convention was like the first one I ever went to. I was planning to go to Comic-Con several times in where I live, but each and every time I would make plans to do it, I either couldn't afford a ticket or I just didn't have time to actually go because of work obligations.
Oh, I got you. Well, I know you live. I know where you live because you told me before we got into this, and I'm not gonna say it out loud. But I, on the
Don't
other
dox.
hand, people know where kind of where the general vicinity of where I live in South Carolina. So apparently,
Yeah.
Comic Con is coming to Myrtle Beach very soon.
Hey,
Um,
nice.
and I'm thinking about going there. I've never been to a Comic Con. I've always wanted to go to a Comic Con, and I'm telling you this because maybe you could go.
Hey, that wouldn't be so bad. Yeah.
It wouldn't
Hey,
be
if you
very
go,
far for you.
you gonna dress up?
I don't know if I'll dress up. I may just go in my regular clothes and just enjoy the enjoy seeing people and whatnot. I think that's what I'll probably do because, one, I don't want to spend the money on a costume. I really don't. Um,
Fair enough.
but if I was to choose a costume, it'd probably be a Michael Myers costume.
Hey, not bad. Yeah. Actually, when I went to Comic Con, not Comic Con, sorry, the convention I went to was called GalaxyCon, and when I went there, I went dressed up as Superman. I'm actually well, as myself, and then a Superman cosplay. Well,
Hmm.
by cosplay, I mean like it was just a long red cape with a Superman T-shirt I was wearing. I'm actually a big Superman fan, so that's why I decided to do that.
Okay, that's awesome, man. That must have cost a pretty penny though.
Not too much to be honest. It was pretty cool because at that same convention, the cast of the TV show Smallville was there. I don't know if you ever heard of it,
I
but
have heard of it.
they were. You have, you
Yes.
have. All right, cool,
I've
cool.
never seen the
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
never
they were
seen the show
actually.
though, but
Oh, you should, man. It's great. It's like the what is it? The beginning of most DC shows you hear on the CW. It was like the beginning of. It was like the OG, the beginning of all these superhero shows that you see. They're all credited to Smallville in some way.
oh really?
Yeah, yeah. So if you check out the CW, a lot of the superhero shows that you get, especially when it came to the Arrowverse and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
that actually does, in some ways, give a lot of credit towards Smallville because it basically pioneered what we all see on there. Not
Really?
necessarily with shows like Supernatural, but mainly with shows like Arrow and what other Arrow's the only one I can think of them at the moment that appears on CW, but you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean. Because of that one show, we have gotten a lot of what we've gotten. Is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, yeah. So I thought it was pretty funny when I met the main cast, which was of Superman. They all thought it was really clever and they liked it. There's actually a video online. I don't know where it is right now, but on YouTube there was a recording of the panel that they were at when they answered questions, and I'm actually in it, not shown, but you hear my voice when I'm asking the questions. So it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I got the crowd riled up chanting do it, but there's context behind as to why they were doing that, but I won't get into that right now. If you want to see it for yourself, check out GalaxyCon Richmond and whatever. So yeah.
Okay. I just might. Um.
Hey, if I find the video, I'll send it to you.
So, what was it like to watch your channel grow? Because you have, I think, a little over 2,000 subscribers, right?
That's right, 2,000 subscribers, but sadly, as of late, they have not been very active because I've been taking a lot of hiatuses due to personal reasons. It's
Mm-hmm.
not to sound sappy or sad or anything. It's mainly due to a lot of depression that I've been suffering from, and it just kind of kills the motivation for me to actually upload content. And because of that, a lot of people have not stuck around on my channel, and my views have dropped significantly because of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I am grateful for the ones that have stuck around and for the subscribers that I have gained because, I mean, to be fair, 2,000 subscribers is nothing to laugh at. It's actually quite impressive in and of itself that I managed to get as far as I did with the 4 or 5 years I've been doing this.
Yes.
But when it comes to watching a channel grow, I mean, it is something interesting in and of itself. I'm not one of those channels that just grew like a lot over time. Like I grew very, very, very little as time progressed, but I liked how fast I was growing, and it kind of made me think, huh, I wonder how fast I could keep this up. Not that I was trying to milk my quote unquote success, it's that I wanted to see how far I could actually make things go. And I was pretty shocked when I hit my first 100 subscribers. I'm like, oh my god, this many people actually watch my stuff. I feel like I'm somebody now. Because like the longest time, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this kind of thing. I just felt like I was just a complete nobody for like the longest time in my real life. And to see all these people actually like and support what I do as time went on, it felt very, very powerful to me,
Right.
invigorating in a way,
Mm-hmm.
intoxicating, I guess you could say. And so I decided to keep going because if they enjoy what I'm doing, I want to keep giving. I want to keep giving them stuff that they can really enjoy. So I kept going on and on, doing video after video. And I never once got sick of it because if people enjoyed it, then I would enjoy it. And when I when I hit my first 1,000 subscribers, I was just blown away because this is gonna sound so cliche. Like every person says this. I never thought I would get this far.
Really?
You could
Why?
apply that to basically anything, really. Anybody can say, "I never thought I would get this far." And once they do, once they see that big number that they actually hit, they're just completely blown away by it. And I was too, especially when I got my second K, when I got 2,000 subscribers, I was still blown away. I'm hoping to one day hit 3K, but given the stats of my channel right now, it looks like that's not going to happen anytime soon. But you know what? It's not a big deal anymore. I recently just stopped caring about views on my channel, to be honest with you. Now I just
Mm-hmm.
do it just for the fun of it. Although
Eh,
I will admit, it is a little disappointing to see the stats that I once had suddenly go down, the views that I've once had go down. It can be disappointing for practically anybody.
uh,
But the key is to just not let it affect you completely and just accept it for what it is and just enjoy making content just because you enjoy it.
Now, was that your thinking when you first started it, bro? Did you think like I'm just gonna do this for fun and see where it goes?
I did it as like a test to see what I could do as a voice actor because I didn't do it just to get clout or just to get attention off of YouTube. I did it just to test myself and to see how good of a voice actor I could be. Because I'll be honest, I was a theater kid. I was. In high school, I was in a few plays and I really enjoyed it. But I've always wanted to do voice acting because, well, one, I enjoy some animes out there, and I always thought with my kind of voice, I could make something work out of it. And I've been told by strangers that my voice is actually perfect for narrating in radio shows and whatnot. And I thought, hey, I could probably make this work. And so, um, is this the part where you ask me what my YouTube origins were?
No, I just figured I'd ask that one question to see where we went.
Okay, well, you can ask that one next if you want to. But essentially, I did all this just to see if I could not only improve myself as a voice actor, but to see what potential I could hold if I ever try to go into that kind of field. And that's something I've been wanting to do for a while. I love to
Okay.
voice act, and I've wanted to do more and more online voice acting jobs. And hopefully, maybe one day I could make a career out of this, but I don't know if that'll happen. I just hope that I'm good enough to the point where people actually want to see more of me. And given the response that I've gotten over the years, I feel like it's been pretty positive. So, yes, I feel like I could make something work out of this.
Okay. Okay. I think, you should just jump back on ship and do your best to get content out. I mean, from what I've listened to and seen, you do an amazing job at it.
Thank
That's
you. I
not a joke.
appreciate that.
I really think, you should maybe just try. Like, yeah, your numbers may not be great to start with, and it may take a long time before you before you get the views and the whatnot that you once had. But I would never count out that you couldn't do it again, my man.
Oh yeah, and thank you. I appreciate that. It's always nice to get some kind of moral support when it comes to that kind of thing.
You
Because, like I
know,
said,
I'm a
this kind of thing
newbie,
can affect anybody.
huh?
Sorry. It's like I said, this kind of thing can affect anyone. So it's always
Mm-hmm.
good to have some kind of moral support on the side that can help motivate you to keep going, especially when your channel's hit like a bit of a rut and you don't get as much as you normally did.
See, I haven't reached that point where, I'm still a fairly new channel, as you know. Um, so I haven't hit a point where it's been like a rut. So I can't, relate, but I can do my best to still support. And, you know, uh, as someone who has seen many channels start, then stop, and then start up again, it does take time. But I believe you could do it. You have a real good talent for what you do. And I believe that when you really start up again, you start making, you may have to go back to the old school days where, you have to put out content like almost every day for a while. But I believe you could easily get your numbers back. Maybe maybe the problem is that, you know, people just maybe haven't noticed your content like they used to because it's not as often anymore. Maybe it's not as you know, I'm gonna say consistent as it used to be. Cause I was looking and your
Yeah,
last video was a
couple
month
years.
ago, and before that was a month and whatnot, and maybe for like 3 weeks you could be putting out content like almost every day, every other day, and you know, um, get that attention back, and then be able to go and just do it like once or twice a week. But I know that in my heart that you would be able to easily get that attention and those views back. I know it for a fact.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. That's really real nice of you.
I'm not
You know
that
what?
nice.
It's good that I actually grew as slow as I did because, to be honest, I don't really think it's a good thing if a channel grows way too fast, like way too soon. I've known some people in this community who actually have grown very fast when they first started out, either because they knew someone else in the horror community that helped boost their numbers, or they just got lucky. And I feel like if you grow way too fast on YouTube, especially when it comes to the horror narration community, not to badmouth you guys, but there are a lot of people, and this isn't any community, to be honest. Anyone in a community can be this way, but when you grow really fast, I've noticed that you start to develop a bit of an ego.
It's
Like
true.
there was this guy I knew that I'm not gonna name names, but this guy I knew, right? Every time he would get a hate comment of someone who said that they didn't like his videos, he would just pass them off as trolls and then, well, respond like a jackass and then post their comment thread on Twitter exposing them. It's like, hey, this troll's making fun of me. I'm like, no, he's not. He's just giving you constructive criticism, or in some cases, they're just saying they just flat out don't like the video. That's not trolling.
It's a good point. Yeah, people often see negative comments and it's immediately like, oh well, they just don't like the content. Maybe there's no point in looking at this. But a lot of people don't try to put a negative comment up there for just no reason. You know, people do it to
Exactly.
give you the constructive criticism you need to be better. And
Exactly. And if you're gonna react this way because your blind ego is just so shattered by this one person, then you really should not be on YouTube in the first place. That's
I
the one rule
agree.
I have. If someone is criticizing your work, and I'm not saying any person that criticizes you is giving you constructive criticism, because yeah, constructive criticism is not an excuse to just be a complete jackass towards someone.
Absolutely.
But it can go both ways. The creator itself can be a jackass towards the people who's criticizing, who they're being criticized for. So it can't go both ways, essentially, or you can't have it both ways. You can't make something grow exceptionally fast, but at the same time not expect people to give you flack for it. And when you do, you should not just pass these people off as just being trolls.
I agree. I absolutely agree. I think for anyone to be the best version of what they're doing, you need constructive criticism. You can't. Nobody is just absolutely perfect at everything they do. You think Johnny Depp was always a perfect actor? I'm sure he got a lot of advice. You think Leonardo DiCaprio was always a perfect actor? Well, I mean, it's Leonardo. Let's not kid around here. No, I'm sure he
I mean,
got a lot
I
of
love those
advice.
guys, but even if you're a really accomplished actor, there are some films that are pretty bad.
Oh yeah, everyone has bad film. Every actor has bad films. Every voice actor has a bad recording, and sometimes people just you got to hear it from someone outside your bubble. Because
Exactly.
unfortunately, people inside your bubble always say, "Oh, you did a great job. It's a perfect." Even when it's crap. People
Yeah,
outside
mainly
your
because they don't
bubble,
want to offend you. Yeah, yeah,
right?
I get that a lot, and I'm sometimes guilty of doing that. But I often do trying to, bleh, excuse me, I try to tell people how it is. Essentially, I'm like, I think you could do this a lot better. Which is funny because one time I did say this to a female narrator. Granted, it was in a public tweet. I just said that her voice acting needed some work, and she messaged me saying, you could have just DM'd me that. I'm like, does it make much of a difference? I mean, yeah, it's public, but then again, we're not that big channel. We're not big channels on YouTube, so hardly anyone would have noticed it regardless. So it's just constructive criticism. Anyone would have given you that even if you were well known. So again, it's not really a big difference. So anyone can criticize you no matter where you are.
It's true. And well, unfortunately, that kind of stuff does happen, and you know, some people just can't handle it. It's just fact. Some people just cannot handle it.
And I say this a lot, if you cannot handle being criticized online, whether it be made fun of by other people or just getting criticism on a video that you made, then you honestly should not be on YouTube in the first place. In other words, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen.
It's true. It's true. And that's what gets to a lot of people. And let's go back to egos for a second. You know, I haven't been doing this a long time, but I have already had to deal with someone who had an ego, and after experiencing it, it makes me wonder, why do people rely on an ego? And okay, let me get a little bit more into. I can't say names, but he has like 300 subs. It's like 350 subs or something like that, right? And
Yeah.
his views are lower than mine. And I've been here a month. He's been doing this for years. Here, I'm actually gonna look up the name. Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna look up their channel right now. They have 348 subscribers, 33 videos, and their views are, a little bit all over the place. But I've already found that his ego got the better of him, and he took it out on me and someone else. And it's unfortunate because I think he would have been a great guest on my show, and I think we would have had a great time. But because of ego, it did not happen that way. And I don't have one.
And
I don't have an
this
ego.
was someone that you. Sorry, this was someone that you interviewed.
Not interviewed. I was going to.
I'm kind of curious who this person is. I'm not saying you should send me this person's name, but I'm actually genuinely curious. I wouldn't do anything. I would just check out the channel to see how they sound. To be honest with you.
I can tell you after.
Okay, sure. I don't want people to get the wrong idea about me.
I think he would have been a great guy. I think he may be a great guy, but I think I just got like the worst side of him at a bad time, and now we don't talk at all. Unfortunately.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, but it happens, and that shows what ego can do, because I think him and I would have worked really well together. But I mean, it's not gonna happen now. Like if he tried to talk to me today, it would not end well. I would tell him to just leave me alone. Because of what he did. So, and it's unfortunate, but that it's just a lesson that you can't let your ego be the better of you. Because he's a small channel. I'm a small channel. He's been doing this for a long time. And, yeah, it just comes down to ego, man. It's not... no matter how big or small you are, don't have an ego. I don't really know any other good way to say it. I'm trying to find a good way to say it, but I really can't. I'm ranting. I'm sorry. So...
no, it's fine. I ramble on a lot all the time, so it's not really a big deal.
yeah, you get it. Rambling's good, though. Rambling's really good for the vocals. And it helps you get better at what you do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, man, thank you so much for being here today. I've had a lot of fun.
Oh, are we done now? I don't want to wrap it up now. While we still, I'm sure there's still plenty of questions you can ask me though.
No, we're not wrapping it up. I just wanted to say it. This has been so fun, man.
Oh. Yeah, I agree, man. It absolutely has been. Like no question, man. I love doing interviews like this. It's great.
I just like finding out who people truly are behind the scenes, I love just talking to people.
I've actually interviewed some authors on my channel as well. I mean, they're really, really nice people. Speaking of egos, there are some authors in the creepypasta world that actually do have massive effing egos too, like massively effing egos. There's one author in particular whose ego is so big that he can't handle being criticized at all. Again, not going to
Ooh.
name names, but it's funny because this same person often makes fun of other authors who he claims can't handle criticism and claims that people who make fun of him are babies. I'm not going to name names. I feel like I just keep saying that over and over again. I just feel like I should hammer that in. But egos are something that can affect anybody, not just here in this horror community, but as well as in the writers community as well. Authors are just as capable of having egos as the narrators.
Oh, anybody's capable of having egos. Just, I can't name names. cannot name names, but two people I've interviewed have beef with each other because of differences in opinion and egos. And it's really it's sad. It's really sad because they both focus on the
Yeah,
same content,
it
and
really is.
because they have different views and opinions, they don't like each other. And their
Yeah.
followings don't like each other. I should say that too. Their
Is that right? Oh, they're at
followings,
war with each other. Oh no.
pretty much like, um, yeah, yeah. I cannot say names publicly, but when I found out after the fact, because I'd interviewed one of them first, and then I interviewed the other, and I found out afterwards that that one of them had beef with the other, and I was like, oh boy, what did I get myself in the middle of? But I didn't, thankfully, I didn't, because well, I stay out of other people's problems, but it's just very much I just don't get it, like.
Yeah, I'm not really one who really is a fan of drama, but I'm the kind of guy that will only get involved in drama if it's absolutely necessary, especially if it involves me.
Yes. I don't. I think I get egos and I get people feeling like they're the bigger man or the bigger person, especially in a place like YouTube. But people don't understand. People want to make money off YouTube. They want to make good content. And if we all just kind of worked together instead of just fighting each other because of difference in opinions or different styles, I bet you 10 to 1 a lot of us would have made it farther than what we have.
That's the sad part when it comes to YouTube, man. Like, drama sells. People love hearing beef between one person and another. Whether it be real or fake, people love it when there's a fight online against two people, two opposing sides. Because fights bring in the ad revenue.
They do. They do. Kind of like the Chris Hansen Wanisian thing there. Like
Yeah, I know all about that. And I'll be fair, there are some people on here that I have had internet beef with. I actually
Really?
have had some online feuds, but not too big to be honest. To be considered like widespread,
Uh-huh.
um, widespread media or so, you know what I mean? Like widespread coverage is what I'm trying to say. Sorry, I had to find that word there.
Mm-hmm. You gotta ask, is there anyone you can mention?
I would rather not because when I was feuding with this person, this same person, after finding out that I spoke bad about him in a live stream once, which I heavily regret doing that. I really shouldn't
Okay.
have done that, but
That's man of
I
you.
was very naive at that point in time. But when I
Mm-hmm.
did that, he ended up finding the live stream that I did, and he sent his fan base to harass me and the person in the live stream uh, through Twitter.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's just low. It really is.
That's
I would
really
never do
low.
something like that to someone, but this guy did it.
That's ridiculous. That kind of stuff is ridiculous. Come on, you guys have beef. Don't take it out on each other's content. Nowadays, if that kind of stuff was to happen and they were to like dislike bomb you, it wouldn't do anything. Because the dislike button doesn't do anything anymore. It actually helps you. And people don't know this, but it helps you.
Yeah,
I-
negative attention does actually give you more attention, ironically enough.
Yeah, it does. I was being explained to it by a very close YouTube friend of mine last night, and he's like, "Look, man, don't let dislikes get you." And I'm like, "Well, they don't." He's like, "Good, because honestly, what they do is instead of being negative to you and your work, it actually pushes your work out there, so you can be seen more." And I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." So if people dislike it, just know that they're actually helping you. They're not actually doing anything negative to your channel. I'm like, wow, okay. So like, I'm about ready to tell people to go hit the dislike button instead.
Hey guys, before this video starts, make sure to hit that thumbs down button and make sure to subscribe and click the bell for more videos. Did I
Yeah,
also mention dislike it too?
it's so true though, and I just find it funny because people can't just, you can't get into an internet beef and that person can just go over there and dislike bomb you and expect negative things to happen.
Oh, this is a good question you can actually ask me. Like, how do I feel about getting dislikes on videos?
Okay. Well then, I'll ask it. How do you feel about getting dislikes on your videos?
I hate it, man. I hate it so much. Every time I get a dislike, I curl up into a ball and I cry myself to sleep every night. It hurts so much.
Really?
Well, not really. Okay, jokes aside, no. To be honest, ever since the very beginning, I've honestly never cared about getting dislikes because dislikes they never.
Oh, I don't know if you can hear me, but you're going in. You're gone for a sec. It's robotic. You're absolutely robotic right now. What? Still there? Well, guys, I think we've had some technical problems. That's okay. This stuff does happen. Believe me, in the realm of YouTube, it happens way more often than people realize, unfortunately. Hello, everyone. Sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties. So, Lance, I gotta ask, what do you feel about dislikes on your YouTube videos?
Well, it comes to dislikes, I'm not bothered by them, to be honest. I mean, I've gotten dislikes on several videos of mine in the past, like a lot, as the years have gone by, but they've never actually affected me. Because I'm like, hey, if someone doesn't like a video, that's perfectly fine. That's their choice. If they don't like it, they can dislike it all they want. Because in the end, no matter how many likes or dislikes I get, it just doesn't affect me in any kind of way. So if you want to like it, go for it. If you don't like it, go for it.
You know, I like
Um,
that thinking. I do. You know,
yeah.
everyone's got an opinion, whether they like something or not. But my only problem is that my only problem is that people remember that what they do when they dislike something is that's there forever. In that moment when they decided to do that, they might not have liked the video, but they might like it years down the road and just completely forget about it, and that can have an effect. Um, Even though it doesn't really have one now, you know, it doesn't, because like I said, it pushes your content out more, you know, and not in a negative way either. It really doesn't work. The down thumb button doesn't really do anything anymore except push your content. And I think when people realize that, it'll probably stop happening. But I also think that maybe they should bring it back in a way where if a video gets enough dislikes, YouTube has to check it over and see why. Like, what is so bad about this video, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I get that. Uh, it is true that some negativity can spread more and give you more attention than positive in some cases. But I don't know. With me, the dislikes were never an issue. Never. Even if I did get a lot of dislikes on some videos, and I ended up getting more traction or views because of that, I mean, that's great and all, but that's not really something that I really want to be known for.
Mm. You know, I agree. Like, you don't want to be known for having bad content, and people hitting a bunch of thumbs down does suck because it could perpetually give people the thought that maybe your content isn't good, even when it is.
I mean, I'll admit, back when I would get a dislike, it would surprise me momentarily, but in the end, I ultimately just wouldn't care about it. I mean, yeah, the idea that someone didn't like the video would make me curious. Like, what about the video did they not like?
Right.
But those type of people will just leave a dislike on your video. They won't explain as to why it got disliked in the first place, and then they move on with their day, which is fine. Some people do that. I mean, that's their own thing. No
Yeah.
one has to explain why they didn't like something, but sometimes it is helpful to know what it is just so you can improve on it in the future. Which I have gotten those kind of comments in the past where they say they didn't like the video because of certain things that I did or the way the audio sounded. It's just sometimes it's good to know what people think, the opinions.
You know, and I agree. Like, you know, just if they downvote it, right, and they leave, hey, I only disliked it because of this reason, I'd be okay with that. Like, be like, you know, they said I downvoted it because I thought that maybe there was just a little too much background noise. Okay, thank you for telling me that. I will work on that, you know, so you can like the next one. But no, people just like downvote it and then leave away, and that's okay. It's not a bad thing. That's okay. But
Yeah,
it
so
still
that's
sucks.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it does, on all honesty. But there's another thing I have when it comes to these kind of comments. It's like, I didn't like this so and so because the video was blah blah blah. Okay, so you're giving me constructive criticism, but then these people will also throw in an insult at you, like they'll call you a name or something. I'm like, there's a big difference between constructively criticizing someone and just being a jackass towards someone.
Yes,
If you're just
exactly.
insulting them, yeah, you're just being a dick. If you're giving them constructive criticism, but also at the same time insulting them, that's not constructive criticism either. At that point, that's like a mix. You're criticizing them, but at the same time, you're being a dick towards them. And I know the saying some negative criticism can be helpful, which in some cases it is, but not at the case of being a jerk to someone who really doesn't deserve it, even if they're like a subpar video creator. Kind of like me.
You know, and I agree. I absolutely agree. Oh, I'm sorry. I just got a text I had to answer. My bad, man. It was about my son. But no, I feel like there could be better ways to handle a lot of the negativity that does happen. And but you're gonna find negativity wherever you go. It doesn't matter what community you're part of in YouTube. There's gonna be those people that are negative because either they feel that their content, is better than yours or whatever, which is ridiculous, unfortunately. But
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
it just kind of comes with the game, you know? It does. But if you're happy with the content you make, that's all that matters. If you're doing it for fun and you're doing it because you really like what you're doing, then that's all that matters, man.
I mean, hey, I couldn't have said it better myself. That's the exact mindset that I have.
And that's the mindset I came into this with. It's actually more like a passion project for me. I did it because, I want to leave a bit of a legacy behind for my son to remember me by. Um, because I'm not going to be around forever. I
Yeah,
may
of
be
course.
around for a long time with him. But, we all move on eventually from this life. And that's okay. That's part of life. But he'll be able to look back and see my YouTube channel and see who I interviewed and who I talked to and what life was like back then. You know. And I'm just excited
Still there?
yeah, sorry. I was going out for a second. You know, and now that my channel's growing and I've got close to 200 subscribers and I just started this last month. It's so surreal to me because what started as a passion project and it's still very much a passion project. I do this for fun. And I do it knowing that someday he'll look back on it and maybe enjoy it. But knowing that it's growing and I'm actually getting fans who want to get to know me, it's really quite interesting.
It can be interesting, yeah. Given the attention that you receive because of the videos you make and the following you develop because of that, that can actually give you a curious feeling as to how long you want to stretch this whole thing out for, or what you can do to. Excuse me for a second. Pardon my yawn.
No problem.
Kind of videos you can make that can entertain them, essentially.
Yeah. And, I think if everyone comes into this with that passion and that drive for passion, I'm going to do this because I like doing it. I bet you 10 to 1 it'll never get boring. And that's not to say it does, though. I'm new to this. I'm still very new to this. I could eventually be like, alright, I need to take a break because it's just taking up a lot of time. And it does. Even being new to this, it takes up a lot of time. But, I feel like there's still a piece of that passion that may never die. But I gotta ask you, do you still have a lot of the passion you used to have? And I'm not saying you don't. It's not a negative connotation. I'm just simply curious.
The passion, well, I mean, I'll admit, the passion for video making isn't as big as it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
But as time has gone on, I've been slowly getting more and more back into it. Because, like I said before, I tend to get a little depressed from time to time, which I don't get much motivation whenever that does happen. But I've been slowly wanting to get back into making videos again, especially when it came to narrating, as well as try to branch out into other things. I don't know what I would do exactly, but I've thought about talking about certain movies that I enjoy, but I'm not too sure. I always say the same thing every time. I'm gonna change my content. I'm gonna do something different, and I never end up doing it.
Hmm.
Mainly because I'm just so used to doing narrations that I've just grown accustomed to just frequently uploading those. And sometimes it can be really hard to branch out into doing other things, even though I want to do other things aside from narrating.
That's good. And that's understandable. I mean, some people could do narrations forever with their channel. Lazy Masquerade, Mr. Creepy Tales and whatnot. All those people, they can do that stuff forever. But some of us, like you and I, or like you, it's fun. It's a great way to build a channel, get a following. But at the same time, sometimes you want to branch out a little bit. Maybe do some gaming or do something else. And I don't blame you at all, my man. Do you have something in mind that you want to maybe go back to your channel with? Something different?
Not exactly. I mean, maybe do more voice acting gigs, but as far as that goes, uh, I would essentially be doing the same thing I'm doing now, which is narrating, just me talking as a character, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I already do.
Well,
Uh,
do you have any videos that we can look forward to?
I can't say look forward to like right now, but just some ideas on the cutting room floor. Specifically, maybe some more comedy thrown into my videos. Maybe I'll talk about a certain underrated movie that I think doesn't get a whole lot of attention. Maybe certain shows that I find really entertaining that not a lot of people talk about.
That's a good
I don't
idea.
know. I don't know. We'll see what happens when the time comes. Only when I feel like I'm ready and motivated enough to actually go through with it.
And that's understandable, man. And no one can fault you for that. I'm really excited to see what you do when you come back to your channel. Like, consistently. I really am. I think you probably do have some great ideas, in mind. And I'm excited to see them through, man. Like, from the
Thank
little
you. I
bit I've
appreciate
listened to, I really enjoyed. So it would be great to hear more. Now, that's not to say you completely quit, obviously. You uploaded some just last month. And, or maybe two things last month. So, you're still there. You're just not there as often, right?
Yeah, that's something I'm guilty of doing.
And there's nothing wrong with that, man. I gotta ask you, though. A lot of your narrations are, based around the supernatural and, paranormal. What do you believe? Do you believe in ghosts? Have you seen one?
I have actually, and I actually have been possessed by one before.
Really?
Yeah, that's a different story in and of itself. I want to actually make a video explaining as to what happened that day when I was.
Okay. Well, what
But
about
I'll just,
your...
right now, the ghost that possessed me, he's not bad. He's actually a good guy.
Okay, okay. Um, so, what's your besides your possession story, tell us about your ghost sighting. Tell us, or ghost sightings.
That essentially was the only ghost encounter I've had up
Oh,
in my
okay.
life. And I've always believed in ghosts my whole life, but that's the
Really?
one time where I've actually experienced it firsthand.
And what was it like for you? Was it scary?
Kind of was, yeah, but at the same time was kind of interesting in a weird, macabre kind of way.
Okay. So, you believed in ghosts all your life, and you've only had that one. What other scary incidents have you had? And it doesn't have to be paranormal in nature. Have you ever had anything like someone break into your house or anything like that would be terrifying?
It would be terrifying, yes, but I have not had that experience yet at all in my life. Maybe one day it'll happen, but it didn't happen to me growing up, and it's not
Good.
happening to me now, currently.
Have you ever experienced a cryptid?
No.
No. Okay. But you live in Virginia. Those things are everywhere there. What are you talking? What?
Is that right? Maybe it depends on what part you live in, but the part I live in is very touristy.
Oh.
So I have not had a chance to experience anything like that. Now I kind of want to be honest with you.
Well, just go out in the middle of the woods, like at dawn, and just start yelling "Skinwalker" and see what happens.
Seriously? Just call him like that, like Bloody Mary. Like, Skinwalker!
Someone might come by and think you're crazy, but you know, you never know what you're gonna experience.
Yeah, they probably would think I'm crazy. Like, what the heck is this guy yelling about?
What? I walked by this dude the other day in the woods, and he was just standing there yelling "Skinwalker." I got out of there, man. I did not know what he was doing.
He might have been on something.
Well, I mean, it is a VA. You never know.
Yeah. At least it's not Florida.
It's true. That's true. But I mean, I hear Florida isn't as bad in different parts. It's like it's just like the one occasional really fucked up story gets out there and people
No,
blow it.
it just depends on where you're from. I mean, I know not all Florida's bad. I have friends who are from Florida, and they're really nice people.
But what
It's funny
about
'cause
the
we're
neighborhood they
together.
live in? What's their
Eh,
neighborhood like?
it's nice. It's nice. Nothing bad at all, as far as I know. I do know that a lot of people give states like Texas a bad rap, saying it's all guns there as well. That and Detroit is what Detroit, Michigan, but that's not the whole state. That's like
Yeah, that's
a
just
small.
that one part.
It's just that one part compared to like all of Texas, where it's all like, "Hey man, I tell you what, there I loaded my gun and I shot up a Jim in his butthole, and then I don't know. I'm
What?
going with
What
this.
is butthole?
I know that's the first thing I could think of when I was.
That's quite an aim, though. You have to have quite the aim. That or he was preparing for you, and
Oh,
that raises some other questions.
so Lance, what's your sexuality? What?
What? Yeah, what's your like late obsession with buttholes, man? Are you like, do you swing both ways? Like, nothing wrong with that. I do, but you know, it would bring up a whole lot
I
more questions.
experimented.
Oh, did you?
Just kidding.
Oh, okay. I
Well,
was like,
I mean, that does get too personal, but I did at one point when I was younger, but that's basically all I'll go into.
you know what, man? I think that that's okay. I think everyone should experiment at least once because I don't think you ever really truly know yourself until you do. Because met some really straight people, right, who met the right guy, and things just clicked, and they experimented, and all of a sudden they were themselves, either swinging both ways or gay, and there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, if you
I'm
want to do your own
bisexual.
thing, you do your own thing.
Right, and I'm bisexual. I'm openly bisexual, but you know, it's just I like to think about it like this. When you think of a cowboy, right? What do you think of a cowboy? You think this burly man, maybe not big and burly, but very tough, very, you know, how can I say it? For the ladies, very attractive, right? But
Yeah.
the thing about the pioneers and the cowboys is that they were very openly sexual. Like they weren't just straight. They often admitted they were with who they were with when they needed to be with somebody. And that's really left out of the history books, unfortunately, but it should really be part of it.
Yeah. I mean, you're right about that, but that's not a topic we can really discuss right now. Uh, Given the subject we're on right now, we're supposed to be talking about me, right? So let's get back to the question, shall we?
Okay.
It's all about me, damn it.
Well, I mean, you are my guest.
I am.
Yeah. Man, you're just such an exciting person to talk to. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm just.
Thank you. I've been given that a lot. I'm not really. It's funny because if you know me in real life, I'm actually not a talkative person when you first meet me. I was always the shy and quiet kid growing up. It's only
No.
once you get to know me as time goes on that I actually am very talkative and I'm very entertaining to get to know.
Really? I don't see you being like that shy
Yeah.
kid though. From the person I've been talking to today, you don't seem like you were that kind of shy guy. But it's kind of
No,
interesting.
I was. I mean, I really was. I was always that kind of guy.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really
weird how much-
fascinating.
It's weird how much you can actually change over the years and how much people will change their perception of you once they get to know who you are. Because,
Right.
people might find you annoying at first, but as time goes on, once they get to know you as a person, they actually change their mind on you and they think that you're actually pretty cool or an alright guy.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I myself was very much, the quiet kid in school. So I understand where you're coming from. And it's crazy how someone can change throughout time. It is. Not everybody stays that quiet, shy guy. A lot of people, end up being the most social person you've ever met. And I think a lot of it has to stem from where people grow up and what they deal with in their personal life growing up. But tell me, I gotta ask you, what was your initial foray into YouTube like? Like, did you always want to just immediately go into narrations, or did you have something else in mind? Was it your first channel?
Actually, it's funny you say that. Well, no, it wasn't my first channel. I
Oh,
had one
really?
back in high school, which I'm glad is gone because, to be honest, it was really bad. I did song covers. I
Oh,
shut off my gaming collection, and by song covers, by the way, I mean I would just play an instrumental of it off of YouTube, film myself on my like stupid ass iPod that I had back in the day. I would just sing badly into the camera because the mic quality was really bad, and I'd be
mm-hmm.
really out of tune depending on what song I sang.
Okay.
But singing is something that I'm also very not very good at. Sorry, I'm decent at. Something that I actually do like doing in my spare time that I actually want to hopefully incorporate into my YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I did a live stream where me and my friends sang Linkin Park songs as a tribute to Chester Bennington on his birthday. So
I
that's
actually
one
saw
example.
the title card for that one, and I plan on
Yeah,
checking it
yeah.
out later.
The audio's not good, man. It's really bad. I'm echoing a lot. I'm cutting out at certain points in time. I don't know what went wrong, but I was using OBS for that stream, and I
Really?
I can't figure out for the life of me why it sounded so bad, but it just did, and that's sad. But either way, that's one example of me basically singing and showing it to you guys via YouTube, and I hope I can do something like that in the future. But I'm getting off topic. That was one of my first channels, and this channel is no longer around anymore.
Oh.
I'll just give you the name of it just for the hell of it, because it's not on YouTube at all. It's gone completely, so I feel comfortable saying the name. The original name behind that one was Board Gamer 96, and when I say board gamer, I don't mean like board gamer as in like a board game or something, like a board gamer, like, oh, I'm so bored, man.
You mean like
And
a tabletop game?
well, yeah, kind of. I was gonna do gaming content on there, but I never got around to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I would basically just be like really bored of playing certain games because I had no money and no job to actually. I was unemployed at the time, and I didn't have money to actually go out and buy new games, and I felt bored of completing all the games that I previously owned in my house.
Okay.
And the 96 is just obviously in reference to the year I was born, 1996. So that's where that came from.
Wait, you were born in '96?
Yeah, that's right. I'm actually 24 years old right now.
Holy crap! I thought you were like 28. I thought you were older than me.
Really? That's so weird though. People say I'm actually younger than I actually look. Like the youngest I've been told I look is like 16. Probably not right now, but like if you had known me like maybe a couple months prior and you saw what I look like, you would be saying that I look extremely young. And that's the common thing I get. I don't exactly sound older,
Okay.
but a lot of times when people hear me talk or when they see me, they say, "You look like you're really young. Are you 18 yet?" Well, I'm making that sound kind of disturbing, but
Are
I'm
you
only going off
18
what
yet,
my
boy?
experience. Because let me explain. One time I was going to school, right, at
Mm-hmm.
college, right. I was getting an Uber to the campus, right, and when I walked into the car, the driver asked me if I was 18. I said I was. I said that I was 23 or 24 at the time. He says, like, wait, what? Like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm like, you look so young. You look like you're still in high school. I'm like, yeah, I get that a lot.
Wait,
So,
wait,
yes,
hold
I
on, hold on.
undoubtedly still look like a teenager, but
I gotta ask. He
yeah,
asked you if you were sure that you're 18.
it was a girl, but yes. How old are you?
Oh, I'm old.
How old?
I'm 25. I'm old.
You're a year older than me, man. I'm gonna be 25 by August, so don't worry. I'm right up there with you, man.
Yeah, I'll be 26, so I feel your pain. It
Uh,
man,
uh,
there's what?
let me send you a picture via Discord.
Okay,
It
okay.
kind of reminds me of the situation that you're in right now.
Oh god. Oh, I'm gonna check this real quick.
There you
People
go.
born in
Let's take a look
the
at that.
30s.
If you want to flash it on screen during the interview, like
That's so
edit that in
funny.
there. That'll be pretty funny.
That's so funny. I don't think I can actually do that right now because it would be a lot of work to move it there. But I gotta tell y'all, this is a funny meme. This is a great meme. It's so true. 30s are coming like a hurricane, bro. Yeah, it's literally right around the corner for us. 5 years is not that long, and it's not gonna feel
And
that long.
6 years for me isn't that long either.
Wait, did you just turn 24? Or are you turning 25? You just said you were turning
No, no,
25,
I
right?
turned 24 in August actually, so it's technically 5 years, but not yet 5 years.
Okay, okay, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Um, I turned 26 this year, and I already have a kid. And I can tell you right now, don't have kids. Don't have kids.
My brother had his kid when he was 18, so
Okay,
I can
yeah,
understand that. I only have kids when you're ready. I'll just say
yes,
it like that.
yes. Absolutely. Do not have kids unless you're absolutely ready, because it is a lot more work than it looks like.
Mm-hmm. Bar none, man. Bar none. Okay, is there another question you wanted to ask me?
I don't really have any more general questions, but we could just sit here and talk.
I mean, didn't you say at one point you wanted to ask me how I got started on YouTube?
Oh, yeah, I did. So how did you get started on YouTube?
Oh, it's a long story. Sit back and enjoy.
All right, I'm listening.
Okay, so when it comes to me in horror, as a kid, I was an absolute pansy. I was not a kid who was really into horror that much because I got scared way too easily. I was kind of a shrimp back in the day.
Okay.
It wasn't until I was like 10 years old, right?
Okay.
I was at school and we had book orders. You know what that is, right? You get a magazine and you get
Yeah.
asked to order a book from this magazine, and it would be delivered to you via weeks later after getting it, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, my school did that, right? And I don't know what drawed me into it, but I decided to take a look in there, and I found one of the books that was on sale was Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. That
Yes.
that long gasp you did just says it all, man. And this was back before the images were changed, apparently, because apparently
Mhm.
parents complained about the freaky imagery that would frighten children.
I do remember the originals. Yes.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I had. I had that very same original book. And when I got it, I was like, okay, let's see what's in here. Let's see what we're getting ourselves into. And a lot of the stuff I was reading was kind of graphic.
Oh
And
yeah.
for a 10-year-old, or not 10 or 9-year-old me, I was like, huh, kids read this stuff, right? Wow. So I start reading some of the stories, and I'm like, okay, that was kind of creepy. And it wouldn't initially scare me, right? Not until later that night when I had to go to sleep. So I'm like, oh God, what if that thing in the story that I read is coming after me? I had that kind of mindset. But at the same time, despite the fact that I would be scared, especially of some of the artwork in the book,
Mhm.
like there was this one story. It was called The Thing, not to be confused with the horror film of the same name.
Right.
But there was a story in there called The Thing, and the image of the creature in the beginning of the story always freaked me out. I would always be really scared of that one the most.
Wasn't
I
that
don't
the
know
little
why. It just
dog
always got
thing?
the what?
Wasn't that the little dog looking thing?
No, no, no. That was like
No.
Me Ty Downey Walker, I think.
Me Ty Dotty
No, the
Walker
one
was
I'm
a song. It was the song about or no, no, no. That was yeah. Okay, I remember now which story that
yeah,
was.
the one I'm talking about was basically about these two friends who find a skeleton who just stalks them throughout the night or something like that.
Okay, yeah, I do know which one you're talking about now. Yes, that is a
Yeah, that one.
creepy image.
Yeah, that image scared the hell out of me as a little kid. But despite the fact that that book scared me, I kept going. I kept reading it because I actually got a kick out of the stories. And so I thought, hey, what if I read these stories out loud to myself? And so I did. I read them all dramatically and whatnot, like the way my teacher would. Bless my third grade teacher. Her voice is the one thing that always comes to me whenever I hear someone reading a story. She was actually my second grade teacher too. Actually, now that I think about it, I had her for like 3 years of my life. And the way she would always read stories to us, I always thought was kind of captivating. And I tried to mimic that style, not just as her, but also as myself, essentially, add my own little spin to it.
Right.
So I started reading the stories as myself and reading it to my family just to see what they would think of it. And of course, mom and dad didn't really approve of the stories for a kid my age to be reading that.
Right.
But I didn't care. I just kept reading them, being more and more intrigued. Now, of course, some books in the some stories in the book did freak me out a little growing up. But as time went on, I got more and more into it. And as time went on, I went from reading scary stories in a book to watching horror films. And I would binge watch these over and over again. And I grew to have a big love of scary movies.
Yeah.
Not many horror films have actually scared me a lot. Only two that actually did scare me when I was younger was the horror film The Grudge, the 2004 American remake of the original.
Okay.
Not the crappy one from last year.
Yes.
We don't talk about that one. Dear God, we don't talk about that one.
No, we do not.
And the 2013 horror film called Mama. That one actually scared the shit out of me when I first saw it. And I was like 17 when that first came out. That actually managed to get under my skin when I first saw it.
Bro, I do remember that one. You know, and I think one that I think really is it Micho Daddy Walker? Yeah, I think it's that one. That story scared the hell out of me. Cause like the skull comes down the chimney at one point and it sings right at the guy. Was it Mitai Dottie Walker, right?
Yeah. It's funny though because sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. When I read that story, I wasn't scared at all. I was just frustrated. I'm like, dude, get your dog to shut up so that voice doesn't find you, man.
Yeah, right.
Every time the dog's pulling back, I'm like, dude, shut up. You're gonna alert your position. You're gonna alert the enemy of your position. You gotta make sure they can't find you. Get to cover. Fall back.
Oh man, I remember that. Oh man, a lot of those stories though were terrifying. Like that's not like they were terrifying, but I think because of those stories, a lot of us horror narrators came to be. You know, and a lot of us should really sing our praise because that book was it is now such a classic.
Yeah.
But it was so good.
Book, a lot of us wouldn't actually be here on YouTube. I guarantee you, a lot of people were inspired, or at least some might have been, by scary stories to tell in the dark.
Oh, absolutely.
I actually have a video years ago where I actually read 3 of the stories.
Okay. Ooh.
It's not my best work, to be honest. It could have been better, but that's not the point.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Oh, I got something in my throat. Hang on. Sorry, that was weird. Don't ask what that noise was. It just came out. Anyways, back to what I was saying. I would start binge watching horror films day in and day out, and I would really get a kick out of them and a rise out of them. Now, there was this common thing I have when it comes to horror.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm watching or when I'm reading something online or on screen, I don't get scared. I'm initially not scared when watching a horror film. It's only the after effect, as I call it, is what gets to me. Because, you know, when you're lying down in the dark or in bed or whatever, you think to yourself, especially if you're alone, you think to yourself, oh, okay, that actually is kind of scary because you start thinking about what it is you just witnessed and it kind of just plays with your mind subconsciously. And you think every little noise in the house that you hear is that exact thing that you were just watching, and it just freaks you out.
You know, I agree. It is usually the after effect that gets to you.
Yeah. We all dread the feeling of watching a horror film that scared us. Well, maybe not initially, but once we think about what it is we just saw, we often have this fear of, oh my God, please don't make me have the urge to go to the bathroom because I don't want to have to get up and go out there in the dark. Then I can go to the bathroom. It's always the bathroom. Haven't you noticed that? It's always the bathroom that always has the most scary effect because you think if you turn on the light, you'll see whatever it is that was scaring you just sitting on your toilet looking at you. Well, maybe not sitting on it. It's kind of a stupid image if you think about it. Or maybe if you pull back the shower curtain, you'll find whatever it is that was scaring you, like behind the curtain.
Yes. And then you're like, okay, the movie's over, right? You watch the movie, you're now properly scared, and you realize it's like midnight. I gotta go to bed, but you forgot to turn on any lights in the house, especially in your bedroom, and especially if there's a hallway. There's like that long skinny hallway, and you're just like looking down and you're like, I think I'm gonna sleep on the couch tonight.
God forbid you gotta go take the trash out at night.
Oh man, actually, I'd feel safer outside at night after watching a horror movie. Honestly, because think about it, you'd have so much space to run and hide from that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you'd have so much
I don't
space.
know, Squidward. It's kind of dark out there. But I thought you liked the night shift. You're right. For the Krusty Krab.
Oh man. Oh boy. There were, now that we actually talked about SpongeBob, let's talk about SpongeBob. That's actually kind of an
No,
interesting
I
one.
wasn't done yet, man.
Okay.
I'm not done telling my YouTube origins yet.
Oh man. Oh, that's right. We kind of like went way off track with that.
Okay. Although I will say, people have asked me before while recording if I often like look behind me whenever I'm recording, just as a subconscious like thought or whatever. Well, no, I don't do that actually, because when I'm reading the story, one, it'll mess up the recording, and two, I know it's just a story, so I don't oftentimes glance behind me while recording. I'm like, oh my god, is the thing that I'm reading about behind me? Oh my gosh, this isn't like the movie Inkheart, right? Where I just read something and it magically comes alive or something.
Right, right.
Like, no, it's not like that.
No, never. I think
Although I'm sure some people do that kind of thing, but I'm not one of those people. But
yeah,
anyways, I'm getting off topic.
it's okay.
Okay, so I had the book Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, right? I was really into that at the young age of 10, right?
Okay.
I would read that story a lot. I would start watching horror films, and around the time when I was about maybe, I think, 15, maybe I was 16,
Mm-hmm.
I first discovered creepypastas. Now,
Okay.
here's where it gets interesting. I'm a big fan of a bridge series, right? A bridge series where of animes and games. You know what that is, right?
I have an idea.
Like Little Karibo and Team Four Star, those kind of things.
Yep.
Well, there was a YouTuber I was watching by the name of Xana Uzumaki, one of my favorites from way back in the day. He did a Legend of Zelda bridge series, right? And during his series of Majora's Mask, he made a reference to the story Ben Drowned.
Okay.
Now, I had no idea what Ben Drowned was. I didn't know anything about it. But for some reason, a lot of people online have made videos talking about the Link statue from Majora's Mask, calling it Ben. And
Okay.
me not knowing what Ben was, I asked in the comment section of his video saying, what is Ben? What is Ben? I don't understand what that is.
Right.
Can someone explain? And so someone gave me a brief summary of what the story was. Basically about a haunted Majora's Mask cartridge, and me being someone who, one, loved Zelda, and two, was a decent fan of Majora's Mask, and loved horror. I'm like, cool, I'll check it out. So I went on creepypasta.com, I typed in Ben Drowned, and I spent the next hour just reading the whole story, being so intrigued by what I was looking at. I'm like, oh my god, this is so cool. And so I'm reading it throughout the night, and when I finished it, I'm like, oh my god, I'm like blown away. This is so interesting. I gotta see more of this. And so after that, I start binge reading more and more stories off of the website. I'm like, this is so cool. I'm actually really getting into this. This is great. I can come here for horror stories anytime I want to. Sign me up. But yeah, just that I mentioned, the first creepypasta I ever actually read, not narrated, read was Ben Drowned, which is to this day my absolute favorite creepypasta, like bar none to this day, just because of the nostalgia factor.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, it was later on down the road that after I had been spending time reading these stories, I came across creepypasta narration videos.
Okay.
And the first one that I ever watched was a story called Barbie Doll, which is a story I would later on do myself,
Okay.
just as a tribute. And it was by Creepypasta. Now, it's funny, because a lot of people say when they were first getting into narrating, they always say their inspiration was Mr. Creepypasta, but sadly, no. Even though me and him do know each other, he's a cool guy in and of itself, but he sadly was not the first person that I met. Wait, sorry, not met, excuse me. He's not the first person that I heard of when it came to narration videos. Creepypasta was the very first one. And so I heard his story, not his story, well, the story he was narrating.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this is so cool. People actually can narrate this stuff like an audiobook? That's so interesting. So I went through his channel, I binge watched every single video in the entire channel's lineup. And then I discovered Mr. Creepypasta, and I started watching his videos too. And all throughout my high school years, at least what I had left of them, that is, was spent to just binge watching their videos. And I really got a kick out of them. Just the atmosphere, the music, the way it affected you with the scares and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
because of the way it was being described in the recording. I'm like, this is so cool.
Yeah,
It really is.
it is.
And I'm like, and me being the theater kid, like I mentioned before to you, I'm like, I could actually probably do this myself. I could probably give it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until years later that I got a microphone and editing equipment for Christmas from my parents, right? That I decided to just give it a go out of random. Because see, initially when I got the equipment that I got for Christmas, I was actually wanting to make an abridged series off of the anime Death Note, which I kind of still want to do, but I don't know if I could even do it today because I'm not really a funny guy, to be honest.
Oh,
But
come on.
I don't know. I might do something like that in the future. Who
You're a
knows?
funny guy.
But either ways, I well, thank you. I wanted to do that initially, but then I remembered, hey, I'm a big fan of narration videos. Why not give it a try myself? And so I did. And well, like I mentioned before, those videos in the beginning were very bad, but at the time, to someone like me, it was great. So, uh, as time went on, I decided to keep going with narrations because I actually got a kick out of doing them, and I thought my voice was pretty good at this, pretty good at doing this. So I kept going and I kept going, and people actually gradually started to like and appreciate my content, my narrations, and some of the authors who heard the stories that I read actually congratulated me and thanked me for reading their work, and they actually greatly appreciated it. They actually liked my voice, and even today, some authors do send me their work asking me if I can read them. So it stands to reason that as time went on, I got more attention. People liked what I did, and I kept going because I really enjoyed it. I liked making people happy and enjoying the work that I was doing, and I just didn't stop. And I just that's basically all there is to it. I just loved it, and I kept going.
Yeah, and you know what, man?
So
You learned to do it so well, and that cannot be understated. I
thank you. I really appreciate that.
I didn't have to listen to all your videos to know that just based off the one I heard, you have a really great voice for this stuff, man. You really do. And I cannot wait for you to upload more often again, bro. Like, you're really good at this.
Well, thank you, Matt. I really appreciate that. I'm always glad to hear when people say that about me. I really do appreciate it. It gives me motivation to keep going and not stop. So thank you. That's my long-winded introduction as to how I became a YouTube narrator. That's my origin story. So yeah.
And you know what? Even though it's long-winded, I love it. I love long-winded answers. I think we get the most information out of a long-winded answer. But,
Yeah.
bro, you have like the perfect. You have like the
Perfect what?
perfect
I didn't catch
voice.
that. What'd you say?
You have the perfect voice, and you have like the perfect origins. Like started with one of the most terrifying books of our generation, and because of that, and some recording equipment at Christmas, you became what you are now, man. And I cannot wait to see how far you go when you come on back.
Well, thank you, Matt. That's actually really really sweet of you to say. I really appreciate that. Thanks.
You're welcome, my man. Unfortunately, I have to get going. Thank you so much for being here today, and I think we did like a 2 hour long interview.
Oh, dang, really? Oh, wow. That's actually I'm actually okay with that. Most of my streams are this long anyway. So,
Um,
is this like your long wait, is this like your longest interview?
I think this is
This
one of my
might just be
longest.
your longest
Yes,
interview.
I think this is one of my
Dang.
longest. I'd have to go and check my channel, but I'm pretty sure this is either my longest or like my second longest at most. Cause
I'm an interesting guy.
you
I know.
are, and there are still so many more questions I can ask. I'm just
Maybe in a follow-up interview that you could probably do something like that.
we're definitely doing a follow up interview. There's like that's already been decided, my friend. I think okay, in terms of interviews, my longest has been. I'm looking right now. Cannot find it. Where is it? It appears that my longest was an hour and 34 minutes. So you will have the new longest episode.
Oh yeah, record breaking,
The
man.
the only other episode that was longer was my 100 sub live stream, but that.
Yeah, congratulations, by the way. That's
Oh, thank
actually really
you,
good.
thank you,
It
my
took me a
man.
whole year to hit 100 subscribers when I first started, so it's good to know that in such a short time.
Oh, it appears the technical difficulties have come on back to haunt us again. Everybody, thank you for being here. You have been wonderful, and remember, you are loved, and you are validated, no matter what. Go like and subscribe to his channel and mine, and yeah, just show us some love. Have a great day, everybody.